Hello, my father. Hello, my whatever it is. But then, how come the pst is not? Don't know. It tired. But there is no antasalam antang is a multilam in relation to the next separator because the math condition of phosphate is alkali in relation to the development of third technology, and in that time when there is a conclusion of the Inkasai data work, the professional is an agony in relation to the selective Wangsang Mang. The selective Wangsang Mang is a tertiary of the television to Gadi, the non-console, because in that matter of time, when you Gadi the non-console, you will reposition yourself into Tralaksang, the Pakalele, and participating into the Onolong Sananong. This time is the necklace of the Ulpulong by the Teltong Santong Starfish Sun. The Starfish Sun, in relation to this way or any kind of way, it will program into the next data, and in that time when it does so, the Belakane will insurance the third amount of technical support COSO, and in that time I'll measure this to Lungkong. But the Balakasi is a Lona in relation to the revision to Sasplo Anna. The 59-26-48 revision reverse 3 Mira 5 Plexen and Throng Sang. My best friend the starfish, this indication of knowing how to income, how to proceed. No, common. How to know. Don't know as yet, but the conflamankan of the next song. Don't know as yet, but the funny eye, because the sha is really strong. Whatever, the sha is really strong in relation to the placina of the horizontal, but the no. Well, what's that in the movie Horizontal? Right? Well, it's not impossible, but it may be in the Hachasang of the Gala of Tung. And in that time, if the person has been aligning itself into the kaflu of long, the longer it goes, the spider, it will into the water foundation. But if you intercoolant leak in relation to outer rim hemisphere of Olu, then the next Kongsa will actually develop into the provision to lecturate into its own modification. And in that time, the fifth one is 86, 25, down, access, see. The pensinan. Oh. The pensinan is based upon the allele in relation to the selective protein, and in this provision to class the subdivider, it is the function of relationship. IO liquid. And in this time, when it's equal into the liquid, the intercoolant of your the intercoolant, how would it flow into like Alien the movie with a whole, you know? And in that time, when there is an aplana in relation to how to sunken, how to W2 W5 hazard 632 Doki 21 Sa rocket in this consumption of a rocket, it is the maturity to understand the phenomenon by amnesia. And in relation to amnesia, this is sender 5C, 6C, 9C, 2C, 1C, da, sun. So within that time, when you travel into the maximum number of the level, it is the Balakasano by the Watansan, and the Wantasan by the Wantasan. The Wantasan is one of the most one of the most grassing into pro sender evi. URLC561 stock market. In this way, the one-on-one is a pakase in relation to the Balane participating into our ono, and ono, and on is a melody in relation to the yes. That is the flower I like from Atlanta. This song is to review the onsen because the Rana is the seventh sun to art. The sender, air, validation. This glare is one of the most severely unbreathable into your engine, because the air that you show in relation to testing how much air it can compact in relation to the dilaconum, because in that time, if there is an onset of the molecule, the revision to support the Bologna is by participating into the death of Poseidon, and in that way, when you have the water coolant in relation to shine through the shower of the dark crystal, it is the illumination of Bogotnon in participating into Allah Koshan, and in that matter of time, when you have a stiff consent, no, ulno, no, bio, like that, done. In that matter of time, when there is a segmentation of the form, you also need to interlude the intertexture of the stacker, and each stacker of the internal coolant is part of one of these, which is the maturity to understand the backfire battery saver. The backfire battery saver is an functional in relation to polymer transform polygon POS plus 3, and in relation to POS plus 3, it is the ergonomy of the Manhattan Axisana participating in the Akalakosson, because this way how it orbit in relation to your space star, it is the belong of the intensifier by no. But in that matter of time, when there is a conference of the maturity to understand the alignment of time, it is the fantasy of knowing how to compass the economy. But in relation to the fifth position, the Colossae is one of the most last something in relation to the third amount of Pulu. And the Pulu is based upon the Pulu, something like that, in relation to the fifth revision to Soko. The Gawan. Alien Assassin. In this matter of time, the alien assassin will need to tell how sensitive is your skin, or whatever that you, I don't know. But in that matter of time, when your ship travel to the moon, the next symptom, you become locked out. Unfortunately. So, during the medical, whatever. But when you have compacting the degree of the monono, is that when you oil the concussion of the compression of the resultant and you be like that in relation to the video conference, because the air is it different? I don't know, but whoever makes the clouds in relation to, you know, it is the because it's less power of muscle in your mouth, whatever you call it. But when you act normally, then the Peccarini will be in outer inter skim of particles by Gemini and the Pelcason of which is the E-inconstant of the Alakadang satellite beacon 3 through dawn. That's how the beacon works. And in that time, if you can detect any kind of things in relation to your air tester to indicate why and so, then you need to know that the higher it goes, the less gravity, is it? No, the less like that, because your own blood and vein will actually get less in relation to when you're like when you travel past this outer chiasm. And the outer chiasm is based upon the horizontal parallel vitae of Protac and Tokotan, position 328 and position 324 in relation to Alakazai, and position 326 in relation to Bakalakakun, and position Takatono, position Tataktono, position Tataktono. And in that out of our Lokoton, the position Alang, the position Akatono. You be like this when you're talking. Because the Balakazano, I don't know. Well, Half-Life 2 indicating Fallout 4, switching to Illukono, participating into the star that I drew at 11 Tanner Street with, Papa on Green. But in that matter of time, when there is a Sakrakono, Bigdinu, Delicadam, because a look, you be like that when you go to the moon. But in that manner of time, when you can fix the Sakrakono or Lekono of your throat, cut throat, it's not going to happen like, it's not going to cut your throat, but you'll be talking like that. But when you talk like that, you probably end up with some sores and stuff like that. I don't know. But in that way in and way out, the flexi of the MRIC and then MRI1C, 3C, 5C, IC, ISS, 3C, and ISS 11 is the Bakalnay Hitchison of the hydrogen. And of the hydrogen, it is the known of water in relation to the Basalang of Cyclops to actually map the condition of physics, map the condition of Bagalang to fix your, tongue. And in that time, you can speak properly. But everyone has a different, thing or whatever you call it. But if you can't fix it, you just have a little bit of mixture in your video recorder. So when we can actually get a beacon for the satellite, you might sound just a little bit different, but some actors and actresses, they sound like that anyway when they make movies, don't they, of course. But in that time, based upon Sir Funk, is that when you're safe to travel to the planet Moon, you need to actually eat well and sleep well in relation to the Pakistan and Akanai. Because in that manner of time, based upon the alien, when, becomes a mother or whatever you call it, or husband, whatever you call it, goes, I don't know. So in that time, you need to check things out to see what level you can go to and what level you can return to home. Because when you return to home, that you need to actually geomap into the TomTom by computerizing the Kissel and analyst. That's what you call it, based upon the digital plan. That's yeah. So in that way, in the digital world, the conference of the digital world is that when you hire a certain amount of products to actually have first aid kit, is that when there is a emergency whatever in relation to when you travel over like that out of the interim Hemili and Okoton technology and also the hemisphere of Sufon, and in Sofon that is a not drug but Shonkon, no, lolly, I think so, it's a lolly. And in that lolly, the Welakan, I don't know, in that lolly, you actually will present the name by formulang into the right consonant before you can travel past the outer ray of the intertone. And in that, does that look testicle? No. So in that way, when you have tests based upon the pilot, some CDs and books somewhere, So in that way, when you have the pilot to travel over past the normal aircraft that you have nowadays, like Emirates and Intercontinental of Qantas. So if you can go past that based upon the oh no later, oh no later. But anyway, if you do those things, it would help you to understand Holmes' world in relation to the placenta of the geo retricle the matter. And in that way, when it retrickled the dam or whatever, it is the institution of knowing how to become home and to have a roadshow of the prolonging of the artificial intelligence. And in that way, when you make a robot that travels that far, I've seen it in documentary, thank you. If you make a robot travel that far, oh my god, you'd be awarded in that way anyway. So if you make a robot travel that far, there's stuff that you can do on your own, can't you? To go all the way to the moon. But where is the moon? It moves, doesn't it? Or it stays in one spot. I don't know. Oh, forget about it. But in that way, oh, why am I talking so fast? I don't bloody know. But anyway, in that way, the legacy is a Botox. No, Boston. Boston in relation to if you find any raw of the lolly, you will identify how it will be in the hermit to think sort of. Yeah. But in that way, if you have a way to actually know how the robot or any kind of things travel that far, because I'm not going to see further apart. There's like, it's really far, like really high. And so in that way, if the robot can go that high, and you can make it go higher and higher all the way to the moon. But in that way, the ratio of the Plalang is a prisonal of Pralanam in the preform of Tralang and the Skeleton. And in that way, it is the Blakasilo Ono. So if you make a robot like that and it's travel into the artificial intelligence, the higher it goes, the better it will stop and exile, eject into the parachute to come home by the drone. So medically, the understanding of physics is a sala in relation to a portion. The stand of the star is that once you have Ono, the megali will participate into this physical bilingual Langsan. And in that way, when you fulfill the balance amount of Tolokun, how on off that it will be stabilizing into the older way. That's how it goes, the fabric. If it don't know, that's how it works, the fabric. But in that Mizuno, or in Eleanor, one of my favorite character in Dragon Ball Z is actually, it looks like a cockroach. It's got like big antennas. It's just like menthol. Menthol or menthol? I don't know, menthol. So in that way, it's my favorite character. In that way, when we have the ratio of the Borowadam or the Robotic in the artificial CP348 and the CP3264829 is the plexi of the function of the proton. And in that way, with the proson of the protox, of the polong, that it travels just a little bit further in relation to the traveler to indicate the next function of artificial intelligence. And the artificial intelligence for Bala Kushon. I must start something on Google with, So in that way, with the sender, we can also really that's how it goes in relation to the Intelaxam satellite of Bakasan, Beacon. No, next time. It's actually, don't know, next time. So in that way, when it actually developed the third amount of physical type, the horizontal of what happened in Sydney church. Yes, it is the